Alrighty guys, what's going on? Welcome back to Houston Kilby YouTube channel. I'm Houston Kilby, and today's episode is we're back on this mud truck. We were full seal on this thing. Today's episode, you're going to get to see us make these fill-in panels around the body here. This is literally connecting the body and sealing everything up to the chassis. So you're going to get to see that get made on all the corners there. And also today, we're going to get a good glimpse into cutting this door opening out. Making the doors, because this is a body where you actually have to make the doors to it. So this is going to be a cool episode here. Y'all stand back and enjoy. Alrighty guys and gals, bingo bango, as old Jesse says. We are going to hammer down here, get this panel drawn out. Just took some measurements and used a cardboard template there to figure out where the marks was going to be. And we're just going to hammer down here, cutting the edges out with the 10 snips. And heck yeah, man, we're going to get on over here to the pan brake, get our bends bent over so we can put our strong back on this thing. And that's why I like using this. This stomp shear works really well for two things: cutting metal and also using it as a flat top hammer form, so I can beat these edges over, and then I take it over here to the English wheel, good old Harbor Freight English wheel, and get them all flattened out there and start getting this panel fitted in. All right, so now it's time. I'm going to need to drill some holes in this bad boy so we can Cleco this thing onto the truck, and so it'll kind of hold itself in place so I can get an idea how to mount the rest of it. So heck yeah, man, there you guys go, and check this piece out. That's what I'm talking about. We're starting to get these panels filled in there, and now it's time to move on to the rest of the panels back here at the back, and we've got the rest of these to do as well. So let's hammer down here and get these panels put in as well. So again, we used our cardboard template. You can see it over there on the table, and I mark everything out and then start cutting our pieces with our 10 snips, and then going back over to our pan brake here, get our edges bent over so we can put our strong backs on. And again, hammering over the rest of the way, back to the English wheel, hammer down with that, and heck yeah, check that out. These panels are looking daggum good, man. I got both sides here is done. I just went ahead and hammered that out as well. And I thought we'd step outside because we got a delivery just came.
Alrighty guys, special delivery. This is the aluminum for the black truck we're working on. So this is a one way that you guys can get this stuff shipped to your door. I like this company pretty good. We use NASCAR Steel, I think is the name. Let's see here. Stock Car Steel is the name of the company. Yeah, so anyways, we're gonna get this opened up. So what they do is they sandwich the sheet metal in between plywood, and it keeps your metal good and flat and all that stuff, which is really, really nice. We definitely appreciate that big time. But and it'll get delivered right to your door. It saves me time to not have to go and pick up a big long sheet of aluminum, because most places, guys, if y'all don't know this, to buy aluminum, most of the time you gotta buy it by a 4 foot by 10 foot or 12 foot sheet. Okay, you can get an 8 foot too, but to haul that and move it and all that stuff is a mess. To keep it from getting messed up and mangled up and all that, you pretty much have to have a box truck or a trailer. My trailer is full right now, so this method right here works best, and I really like this because of it makes it in sheets that's workable, and it's a whole lot easier to move around versus moving a 10-foot sheet. So let's get it out of here and let's go from there.
All right, guys and gals, it's time to get this box open and get this sheet metal out. I definitely wanted to show more and more, definitely in our next few episodes here, of just as many details as I can of what all it goes into building these things. One, to show why the amount of time it takes to build these, and plus, for me personally, it helps me feel a little bit better too as well. After it's like, golly, I've been all day working on a panel or working on putting some pieces in the truck, and you go back and you look at the video and like, man, I've been after it all daggum day long. And it's very satisfying to see that at the end of the day. And I know a lot of you guys like that as well, so that's why I try to show as much as I possibly can. The customers, they like it as well. And this panel here, it definitely had a little bit of special situations going on with it, but I finally got it, got all the edges rolled over, and got this bad boy put in. And check this thing out. Now this panel does have the white film on it. You can peel that plastic off and it does look like just regular brushed aluminum underneath of it. I still got the plastic on it. All right, so into the next section of the video here. We'll have a little special guest here on with us today. I'm needing some help on how to cut these doors out, and definitely the main man, Mr. Blaine Kilby himself, my uncle. This is who I've learned, how to build race cars off of, is helping me with this step here, and definitely I'm learning a ton from him on this thing. So I'll get the camera. I'm gonna be on the back side of the camera here on this deal, and let Blaine tell us how we're gonna do this piece, and I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. Blaine, tell me what all you got going on here.
Well, what we're doing, we're actually making an inside lip so that once the door, as you can see, the doors are cut out on each side of the truck. This body didn't have doors in it to begin with, and we work with several builds where this is a situation where they're like one-piece bodies or whatever, or bolted together, and they don't actually come with doors. So in order for a driver to be able to enter and exit in any situation, we have to cut doors out. So, once we cut the door out, then naturally we build frames and stuff, which you see in the video. And those frames will actually be mounted to the chassis itself, and the doors will swing open and close, and we'll mount bear claw latches and put a handle on it where the driver can open and close it from the inside or the outside. But this lip here, once you cut the door out, there's nothing to stop the door from going in too far or hanging out or being, as you can see, most of these bodies and stuff are sort of, not like show car quality stuff. These off-road bodies are just required to make it to the first pit, if even that much. 50 miles on these Baja bodies and stuff, the drivers hope that the cactuses and everything else will tear them off, because it makes them lighter and it lets more air in for the driver and the co-dog.
Now, how many bodies did you think you guys went through when you used to run Baja and stuff? Because y'all run the 1,000, the 500, and the 250, and all those, didn't you?
Yeah, some races it was a body per race.
Yeah.
Or especially, a front fender section or a rear fender section or something like that. And with those trucks, you always climb through the window and stuff.
Yeah, because they don't even have doors on them. I guess it's the pre-runners are the only ones that actually has doors on them, I guess.
That's
right?
correct. Yeah.
Type of deal.
Yeah, the pre-runners is like a Cadillac or a Lamborghini converted, with 24 inches of travel in the front and 28, 32 inches in the rear, and the navigator and or another co-dog, or whatever you want to call them, they will go out and they'll pre-run the races and stuff ahead of time, and each one of them have a GPS, and as you're traveling, at a pretty high rate of speed, every bounce, every G out, every creek crossing, every rut, or hairpin turn, they're actually punching in the GPS how many feet. Basically, as you're going down the road, it's telling you how many feet you're traveling, and as they punch in these crossbones or these warning signs or whatever, and the icons in the GPSs, then as the driver's driving flat out, you've got a navigator, or I call them co-dogs, that is a very, very important part of a race team, a desert race team, whether it be Class 1 or the stock Volkswagens or 130 mile an hour trophy truck. You got to know what's ahead of time, and the driver's so focused on acceleration, driving with both feet, setting the truck up for corners and stuff like that. You have to have somebody. It's just like off-road rally racing. You have to have somebody calling the notes out.
Right. And when we found these bodies and stuff and kind of gave it this trophy truck / mud truck kind of look, man, I really think this truck's gonna look pretty wicked and stuff. Now, Blaine, what was one of the first fiberglass bodies that you done where you kind of learned these tricks right here? Because I never thought of this right here, because I came to you, I was concerned. I was like, man, we cut this door out, what's going to happen, or how are we going to give it a little bit of a strength back to it so it don't fold up?
Well, back in the early '90s, when we done the first Lamborghini Pro modified car, and then 4 or 5 years after that, we done the first 1953 Corvette Pro modified car. When I done the plugs and built the molds and stuff, we just done a smooth body, and didn't have enough time to actually go in and make doors and door molds and inner door panels and stuff like that. And we found out that once we cut these out, we had to have a way of, when the door closes, with all the imperfections and the inconsistencies in the fiberglass thickness, which is just part of it, this being possibly partial chopper gun body and some of it's hand laid. Sometimes you'll get in a hurry and you might put an extra layer on as you're ripping the mat apart and sticking it on wet fiberglass and then matting it out with a brush or whatever. In some areas it's going to be thicker than it is in other areas. Well, once you cut it out, that thing just turns into like a piece of notebook paper. It's very, very flexible, and you can see some of the inconsistencies and stuff in the thickness, which we didn't do this body, but we are mounting this body and we're cutting the doors in it and fixing it to where when they open and close, they look like they should, so that the wrap that's going to go on it and everything will look like it's supposed to.
Right. I definitely think these videos that we're doing on this, especially with this body in particular, I think a lot of people, Blaine, don't realize how much work has to go into these, the time it takes to build them, and also the experience it takes, because I didn't just wake up one day and start working on this stuff. You had a backstory of running junior dragsters together and me growing up at your shop and all that, but then the past few years has been me just learning as much as I can to go into this, and that's how we tag team this stuff. When I don't understand how to do something, I'll get Blaine to come over like, okay, how am I going to do this, or how are we going to do this, and then we work together on it and make it happen. But
well, I measured on this particular lip here. In a few minutes, you can take another photograph or whatever of the lip mounted on the inside. The bottom lip will actually be on the inside of the body. I'm just pre-drilling my holes using the actual lip itself as a template, and there's a radius right here on this corner. I'm going to go over to the sheet metal break here in a minute, and I'm going to indicate where that break needs to be. So once it goes on the inside, it'll go straight down for 7/8 of an inch, and it'll have a 1/4 inch of kick in it, so that when we come back, once all this stuff is mounted and everything to the shape of the body, to the shape of the door, we'll pull the body and everything off, and we'll either use panel adhesive, or we'll hole saw holes in this, and we'll actually come over the top of that with another layer of fiberglass and laminate this lip to the body in its natural shape, so that once it all dries out and everything will still open and close and fill in the gaps and everything. The object is to try to make it look like it doesn't have a door until you open it up and stuff.
Yeah, the first time I saw you do this, I was like, oh my God.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Question, everybody follows a lot of people on Facebook, and I'm slow. I've never been the fastest in the world, but I take pride in the stuff that I build and the stuff that I work on. And recently, I actually had a little bit of satisfaction. I think everybody watches CJ race cars, and there's a guy on there, one of my favorites, the guy with the mullet, with his hair pulled through the ball cap. His name is Troy. Troy's got like 35 years of experience in race car fabrication and stuff. And I was watching that episode on CJ Race Cars last night, and it sort of made me feel good, because Troy was talking about the trunk lid on Cletus McFarland's new Camaro that they're building.
Yep.
And they jokingly said that it took 3 weeks to put the border and weld the border in around the circumference of where the trunk lid goes on, and the wing that mounts behind it. But when you look at the finished product, the way they're going to have it, there is nothing sticking up. It's flush. Everything is just as flush and smooth as glass. It almost looks like factory or whatever. But for them to make the comment, Troy does a whole lot of that work, and there's a lot of people in that shop they're all master craftsmen,
Yep.
without a question. But when he admittedly said that it probably took 3 weeks, but they actually jokingly said 5 weeks,
Yeah.
because they do their windows the same way, and their windows at the top of the windshield and all the windows is flush mounted the same way. And you know, just to hear somebody say how long it takes to do something other, and those guys are at the top of the line on what they do, it was sort of satisfying, because you know, quality takes time. And a lot of people says, well, man, it's just a mud car. It's just a mud car. It's probably going to get tore up the very first race it goes to. But if it's looking good before it happens,
Yeah.
it's a plus to
Well, I
the
mean,
customer.
and that's something that I've learned from you. You know, we kind of specialize in very different mud trucks, one-off mud trucks most of the time. You know, I mean, yeah, back in probably the 90s, and I guess early 2000, you had a ton of mud rails that you done and stuff that was fairly similar, but it kind of seems like for us, we've definitely went down this path of we keep getting requests for different looking style trucks, and that's what people want. And when people like it, and we get to kind of put our own unique touch on it when it comes to how we want the sheet metal, how we want the bodies coming on and off, and that type of deal. It takes time and it takes a lot of work, but boy, when they come out, nobody else at the track has anything that looks like it, and it definitely it shows for itself. But
Many a time I've had people call me and say, hey, would you build this particular type of vehicle? You know, we've done Astro vans, we've done some crazy stuff.
police car, Pro Street police car.
Cars, we've done jet cars, 57 Chevrolet with a Westinghouse J35 engine in it back in the, you know, 91, 92 era.
That's when I started hanging out with you.
A lot of people would say, you know, I called Jerry Haas, or I called Jerry Bickle, or I called so-and-so or whatever, and they said they didn't want to have anything to do with it. And sometimes they were sent to call us up, and we was, I guess, you know, as a jokingly thing in the shop, it was known to us as we're the guys that build the stuff that nobody else wants to touch.
Yep.
One-off stuff takes a ton of time.
Yep.
We don't have a cookie cutter set of templates or patterns or gauges or
Yeah, we're not building NASCAR same thing over and over again, but and I will say this truck here is, we think we can get more of these bodies. I definitely think this one we can do more similar to it. For sure, there's things I think we both would like to tweak on it and stuff for the future. But this truck here, I would definitely like to do more similar to this one, because we can build this chassis. We've now got all this stuff 3D drawn up and all that stuff moving forward, type of deal. But again, it's what does the customer want? And most of the time when the phone rings, they got this one-off crazy thing they want built. And we're like, okay.
This is the second one of these bodies that we've built that went out of this shop, and this one, in my opinion, is a whole lot more advanced than the first one was. And like you said, you know, Houston, we've learned a lot of stuff on this one that if we do get a chance to build another one like it, it should go somewhat a little bit quicker.
I believe so too.
But be a whole lot more nicer at the same time. And
Yeah.
we're at the finishing stages of this truck here. It's going to be going powder coating and stuff pretty soon. And we even as of this week, we brainstormed and saw some issues that we wasn't particularly happy with, and at the last minute, Houston had a master plan of some stuff that we're going to finish up, especially on the rear of this vehicle here. That's really going to be amazing. And you know, Houston came up with the term, you know, teamwork makes it dreams work. And lots of times, you know, it takes more than one person to be able to look at something other and figure out a solution, even for the most difficult problem.
100%. I mean, we work together on this stuff, and Blaine, definitely thank you for coming into the video. I believe this is your probably second episode you've been in.
Well, you know, I told you from the very beginning, I don't want to be in no videos.
Yeah.
I just, you know, I'm an old man, and you know, when I first heard the keyword YouTuber,
yeah.
I sort of cringed at that, because I was like, man, you know, every street corner, there's a kid got a plasma cutter and a wire welder and this or that or whatever. Well, actually, by the time I started watching YouTube and even started putting my own YouTube channel together,
Yep.
I realized that it was a much more extravagant industry nowadays. There's YouTube guys out there now, and they've got shops and stuff. They got laser cutters and stuff in their shop, water jets and stuff like that. They'll draw out a pattern out of cardboard for a set of windows and lay Lexan MR5000 or 7000 down on the water jet, program it in, and it will actually cut that plexiglass or Lexan just like it come from ProGlass from California or whatever. It blows my mind, the technologies out there. When I first got my first MIG welder, my wife Debbie, I come home from work one day and there was a Miller-Matic 300 or 250 or something like that, first wire welder that I'd actually picked up, and I sort of got hooked. Next thing, I had some friends bend me some tubing, and I put a roll cage and stuff in my race Jeep, and you know, the more work that I'd done, the more I got hooked in the sport. And you know, from 1980, here it is 2024, I'm still doing what I love. There's some good sides about that, and there's definitely some bad sides about that too.
We've had some ups and downs, man. You've been through some stuff that definitely has been some craziness.
I've started over 4 or 5 times in my whole entire life, and most of it's been from bad decisions on my part. I just want to thank everybody who has kept the faith in me. I am slow. We are finishing up projects and stuff that's here in the shop, and it's better late than never.
Oh yeah. Well, Blaine, we've come a long ways, man. When you came back from Dubai, man, we had one welder, and we started the YouTube channel, and man, it's blowed up thanks to the people watching and stuff. It's helped us out a ton there, getting builds in, getting more customers in, and we're going to keep hammering down here. And guys, we just wanted to, you know, I was talking to Blaine about it. Our channel has grown so much in the past little bit. I wanted to get the family more involved and have more personal what is going on behind the scenes of this stuff to make it happen. Get Blaine's point of view on things in this, because it originated with Blaine. I learned from him, and I took it from there, and we've been very blessed the past few years of how far things have come.
Yeah, but let's make sure that we give all the glory. If there's any glory to be had, we give it to God.
That's a fact.
You know, we're very talented at messing things up ourselves, but with
Yeah,
God, all things are possible.
That's right.
If we keep our mindset where we're supposed to be and put Him first in everything that we do, He'll restore us. It's written in the Bible.
Oh yeah. Well, guys, Blaine, thank you for showing this stuff here to us. We're going to keep hammering down here. Guys, thank you all for watching. Make sure you're like, share, and subscribe. We're going to keep hammering down here. Appreciate everybody's support. And we're going to keep this going here on, you know, we're going to keep showing y'all stuff, what all it takes to build these things. And you guys seem to like it. The videos are blowing up, and this build is looking amazing. I'll give y'all a little bit of quick view what's going on down here in the bottom while Blaine's on that door. I've been down here on the bottom side working on all the sheet metal. This thing is getting close down here. I'm final fitting and finalize some things before I go to put bead rolls and all of it, and that'll be coming up in a coming episode as well. So yeah, guys, hammer down here. Appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Jenna, how do you like that fiberglass getting in your hands?
Yeah, it feels great, especially about, 9 o'clock at night when you're trying to go to sleep, and it just...
You know, everybody says they want to build a race car until they actually build one, right?
Yeah.
It's a different animal.
Everybody thinks they've got race car money until they don't.
Until they don't. Yeah, that happens too. Hey, Jenna over here putting down the savage comments right now.
Yeah, that's my job for today.
Savage. That's it. But yeah, guys, golly, that fiberglass. Oh, woo, you better take a shower before you lay down at night. That's all I can say.
Once we get the border all the way around the bottom, which we just clecoed in, Jenna gave us a hand and stepped over here and put all the clecos and everything back in. Once we get the border the rest of the way up each side, then when the door closes, it'll have a backstop or a lip to come up flush to. The bear claw latch, we'll pull it in, and the adjustment on the hinges and stuff will make sure that once it closes and latches here, it'll be pulled in and stuff there. But you know, once you cut a hole out, you gotta have some kind of a backboard, basically, for the door to close back up to. And it's a little bit rough around the edges right now. Once we do the proper sanding and final feeding and everything, it should be
A pretty slick piece. Heck yeah, man, we're getting there, guys. One of the many steps it takes building this stuff. Golly.